Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Devils get back in the win column. They defeat the Ottawa Senators. Final score 4-3 in favor of the Devils. The Devils are now 17, 12, and 1 on the season, and most importantly, I feel like they snapped that 5-game winless streak. Really cold drought in the season for the New Jersey Devils is now over, thanks to their 4-3 win over the Ottawa Senators. But I can't talk about any of this until I know that we are live. So somebody let me know in the comment section below, and then we'll proceed and we'll talk about the team avoiding this. Avoiding going into terrible dumpster fire mode. Okay, look at this. Is my little dumpster fire plush guy here. I like to bring him out whenever the team is, not doing so hot. But they turn things around today. Thank you everybody for tuning in to us here on Speaking of the Devils. I'm your host Ryan Novozinsky, joining you from my home studio right here in lovely downtown Ewing, New Jersey. Before we get into any of this, I'd like to thank our sponsors over there at New Spine for sponsoring us here on Speaking of the Devils with 7 locations. They are New Jersey's leading institute for minimally invasive spine surgery. Live your best life pain-free. Visit newspine.com. That's nu-spine.com to find a location near you. Okay, so the Devils improved to 5-8-0 without Jack Hughes in their lineup. Once again, snapped that 5-game winless streak, which was so crucial for the team to do tonight. They thought things were going their way in Boston despite the lopsided loss, and now they finally get one on the scoreboard, right? Like, they didn't get one on the scoreboard in Boston. They get one tonight, which is, again, very positive sign for the team going forward. Another positive sign, depth scoring was finally good tonight. Devils snapped their offensive cold streak as well. They had entering this game, they had scored just one goal in their last 9 periods of play. Again, entering this game, and then depth scoring. That's how they did it. They just got 4 goals with depth scoring. I guess you can't really consider Nemitz to be part of the depth scoring group, but they get 4 goals coming out there from that bottom 6. Paul Cotter scored. Gritsuk scored. Cody Glass scored. I couldn't remember his name at the top of my head. I couldn't remember if it was him or Connor Brown. But Connor Brown was also great tonight. That whole line was great. That whole third line was awesome, dominant. Paul Cotter again scoring. Wish you could get this depth scoring every night, but you will take it for the time being. I'm going to screen share with you guys right here just some of the metrics from that line. Let's see if we can refresh it, see if it updated after the game. It did. So I'm going to screen share this 1 second here just to really paint the picture to show you how dominant that third line was. And how great it will be whenever Jack Hughes gets back in the lineup and whatever. Hopefully if Tom Fitzgerald makes a move here in the next couple of weeks or so, to add some more depth there, because I think that third line of Cody Glass, of Connor Brown, and of Arseny Gritsuk could be great whenever, you get Jack Hughes back up in the mix. But let's pull that up here. I'm delayed right here for a second because the natural stats were slightly delayed, but now we got it right here. So we start off here. If you guys can see this, top leading the way here is Arseny Gritsuk, Cody Glass, Connor Brown. Time on ice, 8:30. This is at 5-on-5, obviously. They were on for 10 chances, 4 against. That's 71.43%, which is really good. They were on for 7 shots, 1 against. They were on for 3 goals, 0 against, and the expected goals for percentage was unbelievable. If you don't know advanced stats, just understand this. Look how crazy that number is. That's out of 100%. There you go. 95.93. They controlled play. They dominated. Scoring chances too. 5-0. High danger chances 3-0. That line controlled the pace of play tonight. Let's also go and see our friends. And by the way, this is courtesy of Natural Stat Trick. They're the best. They're the best. Money Puck is pretty darn great too. Let's X that ad out of the way and show you how Jacob Markstrom did tonight, because we will talk about him as well. Obviously gets peppered with a lot of chances at the end there. So, and look, to his credit, I think that Markstrom did fine at the end there. The game started off in a pretty disastrous way for him. Olmark not great either, but he ends up with, I think I saw 1.08 saves above expected. Oh, of course, this is not sharing this tab instead. Okay, he ends up with 1.08 saves above expected. You'll take it. You'll take it. Okay, not a dominant showing from him at all. I thought early on streaky for sure, but he figured it out. And I think that's all you can ask of him at this point, because I think at this point it's the days of asking Markstrom to be an elite goaltender are kind of over. Sad as that is to admit, because Tom Fitzgerald just extended him 2 years. You should expect more from him, 100%. But I don't think you're going to get that right now. But I think that he ends up being fine there at the end. You want a dominant game from him. You're not going to get it, and that's an indictment on Tom Fitzgerald for extending him $12 million over the next 2 years. Not great. So let's go in. We'll kind of break it down goal by goal, and then we'll get to the lovely comments, which I'm sure you guys are very level-headed tonight. Devils final get a win. I was expecting there to be just some vitriolic comments after this one tonight if they weren't able to hang on. We'll start with the Nemitz goal. We'll start with the fact that the Devils, within the first 36 seconds of the game, took a penalty. Stefan Nason took an ozone penalty. Not great. And of course, the Devils gave up a goal shortly thereafter. I think it was Batherson, because it was Batherson, because he almost had a hat trick within the first. He was on hat trick watch within the first 9 minutes of the game. Doesn't end up getting it, but because one of the goals was called back. But yeah, just a terrible first 2 minutes of the game for the Devils. Gave up a goal. Siegenthaler was the one that was pretty much at fault there. Need to clear the puck there. He's been bad this year. It's not great. Then the Nemitz goal. Nemitz with the equalizer there, one-time blast off the feed from Connor Brown. Good vision there from Nemitz to be there, and you see that clutch gene beginning to grow a little bit more. I had a good little candid talk with Shimon Nemitz the other day, or yesterday, about just about being in trade rumors and everything like that. And it's a tough thing for a young defenseman to kind of go through. It's also somewhat of a compliment, because he's always swirling around there in trade talks. Because it's not for a bad reason that he's in trade talks. I feel like this is a guy that's if the Devils do strike a deal for Quinn Hughes, I feel like it's undoubtedly going to be Shimon Nemitz in that deal. It just seems like a guy that they would ask for, especially with him continuing to show this clutch gene that's been so great. Again, the equalizer right there. Shout out Colton White, too, who pokes the puck away, to starts the rush there. I think he's someone that needs to keep playing over Cholowski. Batherson goal, we don't have to spend too much time on, because it was called back. The next one from him, called back due to kicking motion. I feel like, yes, it was kicking motion on Batherson for sure, but if it were off of Batherson's stick, that would have been bad rebound control from Jacob Markstrom. That would have been bad rebound control from Jacob Markstrom. He almost moved in slow motion there. So I feel like he was bailed out a little bit there. Stützle scored after that. Stützle clean, alone, in the slot, just rips one past Markstrom. It was straight at him. At this point in my notes, I just said, make the dang save there, Jacob. Make the damn save. Even if it was tough to stop, which it wasn't, give your team a timely stop there. 3 goals on 7 shots against. Again, I said off the top, you'll take that right now. That is weighted against what's, what I mean by that is you'll take that Markstrom performance right now. That's weighted against all the bad performances he's had this year. It feels like you just have to outscore Markstrom each time, which is not a great sign for a goalie that you have extended for 2 more years after this at $6 million a year per. But as D. Hurwitz mentions here, let's see, Markey did top 900 save percentage, so that is a rare sight for him this year. Moving on, Arseny Gritsuk, another goal from him. I think that he snapped a 5-game goalless streak for him, but I'm not going to put that on him because I think he's been great. I think he's been excellent. He rushes Connor Brown rushes near the net, bounces a feather pass off of Olmark and kind of gets it to Grits, who cleaned it up. Nicely done. And I think he's just been tremendous. I think he's been a revelation for the Devils. I don't think that, many people expected him to be this good. He is this good. He's been excellent for the Devils so far. Second period started, and Paul Cotter off the breakaway. Cotter is so filthy when he's all alone. Thus why he leads the Devils in the shootout. Consistently, he dekes through. He finishes a nice little through the 5-hole goal to snap a 6-game pointless streak for him. Good to see, again, some depth scoring there for the Devils at a time where that has been tough to come by for them. Not been easy for them this year. Tom Fitzgerald is probably still wondering, banging his head against the wall, wondering what is depth scoring. Then Batherson got another goal after this, and this one counted. Terrible giveaway from Brendan Dillon right there. Got to be stronger to clear it out. Awful. Basically, an assist to the most dangerous area. I saw, I guess, kind of the vision. Like, I think it was Bryce Salvador mentioned in the broadcast. Tried to hit Glendening on an outlet, but I don't know, man. That was just really bad all around. Senators with 3 power play goals tonight. So the Devils were rolling at 5-on-5, but their penalty kill was not good at all. Dillon has not had a good couple of games here. Then the third period we go, and the Devils, it was pretty much, I would just say the Jacob Markstrom showed from there. I thought one of his better periods of the year. I don't know exactly how many saves he got in that third. Let me pull up Ottawa's shots up. Stopped 18 in the third there, so that was a really strong period from Markstrom. Got to give him credit there. Again, you just want to see a stronger start, and you want the Devils to be able to, to win games without having to outscore him. That's the biggest, I understand great third period for Markstrom, but I'm sorry, you still got to kind of rip the guy for at those first 2. As it just has not been great. But that's it for my notes, guys, and then we can just head right over into the comment section. As a quick reminder, and I'm gonna pull a little thing out of my bag of tricks right here on the stream. So bear with me for one moment. I'm gonna go in here, and I am gonna set a goal for you guys. Can we get 5 super chats? Okay. Can we get 5 super chats? What should I do? What should be my celebration thing? So what you could do here is you could set a goal. What should my celebration be? How I celebrate if we do hit this number? I will, man, I don't even know. I will do what should I do? What should my celebration be? For right now, I'll put a generic one, and then you guys hit me with some really good celebration ones. I will love you forever. All right, we're gonna start that goal. All right, we just started the super chat goal, so if you guys if we can hit that, that would be excellent. We're gonna do something a little different because what I've noticed here is I'm gonna start about when the stream started. So any comment after we are live, I'm gonna hit that one. Only because I've noticed that I've been kind of backlogged in comments lately, and I want to be able to get all the comments in. So we will start from after we are live, and we start here with our friend Zach Chin. Who says, super disappointed in how many liberties we let the Sens get away with on Markey. This team needs to stand up for their goalie when he's getting laid out regularly like that. Totally agree with you, Zach. I thought it was nice to see finally that was called on Brady Tkachuk there at the end. The goalie interference, because that was a mess all game. You cannot let your goaltender do that. You gotta one of the defensemen needs to step up and clear the crease, clear the damn crease, because that's unacceptable for you guys to continue to let people run at your goaltender like that. I would have liked to see maybe the Devils, I'm not always I'm not always the one that's going to be craving for a physical response just because penalties and everything like that. I feel like that's one where if they continue to run at the guy, you can afford getting a physical response there. I agree with you, Zach. Zach Chin says, speaking of depth scoring, I made a Fitz Jeopardy meme. I'm going to pull that up, Zach. That was great. Let me pull that up here. Zach Chin, at Caucasian Zach at 32 on Twitter, did say this, and I will share my screen to show this great meme that he had. Let's see if you guys can see that right there. Oh, you can't quite yet. Right there. Tom Fitzgerald asking, what is depth scoring? That is a great meme. Great Photoshop job. That actually looks really good. If you made that, credit to you there, Zach. Moving on, though. Zach Chin again. Luke desperately oh, we have a super chat. We have a super chat. Zach Chin says Markey will be a Devils legend. I would love to know the thought process there, Zach. I would love to know the thought process there. Right now, things haven't been great for him in his first few seasons here in New Jersey. I will pull it up on StatMuse here just to see his overall save percentage. But and I acknowledge that Jacob Markstrom was excellent in the playoffs last year for sure. But I mean the Jacob Markstrom stats last 2 seasons. Yeah, look, 34, 22, 7 record. Good record. Sub 900 save percentage, 895 save percentage. Goals against average of 2.73. I don't know that that's legendary status there, Zach. I don't know that. But we move on. Let's see. Stanley says, hard-fought win, finally. That said, the lack of response from Markstrom is not a good look. Ottawa took far too many liberties tonight. You know what I thought, too? I thought for sure that this would be maybe... Sorry, just adjust here. Ooh, can you guys still hear me? I thought maybe this would be another physical, fight laden game like the Devils have had many a times this year against the Red Wings and against the Blue Jackets mainly. We saw that. But I guess that didn't end up being the case. I thought that maybe the Devils kind of saw the value in, all right, maybe we don't need to have a fight tonight because we want to win a damn game now because we were on 5 straight winless games. So you don't want to risk having the penalty or anything like that. But I don't know. I thought that there were, like you said, too many liberties in running at Markstrom. Not great at all. Future Man says Grit's glass brown line was excellent when everyone was healthy earlier in the year. Yeah, great point too. They were one of the lines that charged that 8-game winning streak that the Devils had early in the year. So it'll be great when some of more of the stars come back in the lineup. When Jack especially comes back in the lineup. When hopefully Tom Fitzgerald can get another star in the lineup because that line was great. I know ideally you'd like to see Grits end up being a top 6 player, but I mean, great if you could have him being on that line and rolling with them. Awesome. Nick Santola says not for $6 million. We won't take it. Referencing an earlier comment, where I feel like I kind of misspoke earlier by saying we'll take that from Markstrom right now. You'll take that third period, but you need to translate that to all 3 periods, Markstrom, in order to be worth the cost right now. Because right now you just, quite frankly, are not. Nick Santola again says 12 million on Markey and Palat, man. Yeah. And then Zach Chin chimes in and says, old Mark makes 8 million. Yeah, he's not having a great season either. Mike Quinn says, what a roller coaster. It felt like the Yager Devils teams. Yeah, it sure did. That was a roller coaster night. Good way to put it. Good to see the Devils good out of win. You'll take that right now. Interested to see what they do against a Anaheim Ducks team on Saturday that punished Chicago. One of the craziest deserved to win-o-meters you'll ever see. I'm sure someone can link that down below with it because that was not great. But and then even before that too, he's curious to see what they could do against a Lightning team that I think they lost to last time as well. So see what happens there. I am confident they can beat Vancouver. I am confident they can beat a Vancouver team that is just chock full of distractions right now. Tyler Sebas says, my take on Luke right now, has he been rough? Yes, but every D-man with his style needs a well-rounded partner so he can just play free, and having Pesce allows Luke to play worry-free. I was talking about this with someone the other day there, Tyler. Luke has struggled, yes, but he needs Pesce back in the worst way. I think that you'll start to see... You want Luke to be good regardless of who is in the lineup because... Right now, he's a $9 million per year guy. He's a $9 million per year guy. You got to start playing like it. But to your point, this is a guy that you kind of paid for his potential, A, and B, you paid him, because he's such a great pair with Pesce. And I would agree with you that, a guy with his offensive style, his offensive acumen does need kind of a shutdown guy next to him. And that's always how you will construct the lineup. He doesn't have that right now. But you also don't want him. The other side of the coin is that you don't want him to end up being a Brett Pesce merchant for the rest of his career, because he can't be a Brett Pesce merchant for the rest of his career, because Brett Pesce is 31, I think 31 years old, and Luke is like what, 20, so, or 21, yeah. So that's my take on it too. I agree with you, but also you want him to be better. Zach Chin, the first and third goal. I think you mean. You can't really blame on Markstrom. I especially don't know what you expect him to do in that third PK. Maybe RD needs to play better in front of him. Just a thought. I agree with you on the Dylan one. The Dylan one for sure is not on him, and the first one's on Siegenthaler. Siegenthaler needs to clear it there. I'm more so going I think it was the second goal, maybe. Yeah, the Stützle goal. That was really bad. It was right at him, straight line right at him. And I'm not gonna lie, even the Batherson goal, the kicking motion, I know it was called back, great, whatever. He looked like he was moving in slow motion there. So I just rebound control needs to be better. That's been kind of a disaster for him this year. So yeah, that's kind of my take on there. Let's see, guys. We need to. Ooh, sorry. Excuse me. My laundry is just going off right now. I don't know if you guys can hear that, guys. The goal for the super chats needs to get fulfilled. We need to figure this out so you guys can make me do like a fantasy punishment type of thing. Nick Santola says, speaking of, what's your sense of the Quinn thing? Just media stirring the pot? No. This Quinn thing is very real. The Devils have a very, very high interest in acquiring Quinn Hughes. A lot of other teams do too. I wouldn't sleep on the Flyers. I wouldn't sleep on the Detroit Red Wings, especially. But the Devils are I would imagine, are going to be hell-bent in trying to get him. I will have something coming out on Quinn. I have I talked to a crap ton of people this week already. It's only Tuesday. I've already talked to a crap ton of experts, including one of Quinn's former coaches. That gave me some great insight into him, into what the Canucks are potentially thinking right now. I have a rumored ask from the Canucks right now. Be sure to tune in. There will be no guest this week on the show. Little housekeeping stuff, because I'm working on this very big Quinn piece. So be sure to tune into that. Turn my tweet notifications on if you can, because I got some great stuff coming out about the Quinn. Deep dive into Quinn. Rick Roma says, Canucks side is leaking Quinn to Rangers. Canucks side is leaking Quinn to Rangers rumors to try to force Fitz's hand. You kind of see a lot of that. I feel like you could kind of read I feel like that, if there's anything that's going to give Fitzgerald a jolt, it is rumored, Quinn to the Rangers. I don't know. I don't know if I buy that. What are the Rangers going to give up? What are the Rangers going to give up for that? So, I assume they'll be one of the teams that call. As will every team. The dregs of the league will probably call. The Buffalo Sabres will probably call about Quinn Hughes. Vancouver might laugh at them, but they will. I don't know. I don't see that happening. I don't see him going to the Rangers. That's just me. I think he's going to go. I think Quinn Hughes is going to be a New Jersey Devil at some point. Obviously, I think that's what he wants to do. Let's see if the Devils get. Let's see. The onus is on Tom Fitzgerald to get the best trade offer. You go all in for a guy like Quinn. You go all in, because if you're hanging on to these prospects, what you're really doing there is you're wondering, or you're hoping that a Shimon Nemitz can turn into a player that's even half the ilk of Quinn. Quinn is one of the best defensemen on the planet. You go get that guy, especially for 2 years when you could have him at a pretty good cost. I like it. I like acquiring Quinn. I'm all in on it. D. Hurwitz mentioned this earlier. Markey topped 900. Let's see exactly his save percentage tonight. Was it exactly 900? 921. The second best game of Markstrom's season so far. My man Noah says, quick notes, Markstrom played the best period of the season. Markstrom's best period of the season was his third. Yes, 100%. I mentioned that earlier. The power play needs help. Jack plus trades. Yeah, power play wasn't good tonight. Both special teams units were not good tonight. That penalty kill was abysmal tonight. Happy to see the depth show up, and they finally simplified their game. Shots. Yes, thank you. Look, I thought that you saw it in like the Florida game, I feel like earlier this season. You saw Florida play a really nice, simplistic game. They tried to simplify things. And I know Florida doesn't have a great record this year, but I feel like Florida, they tried to simplify things whenever their stars were out. I feel like the Devils needed to try to do that, and they're finally doing it, and I think they've had success here in these past 2 games. I know last game was a blowout, and that's fine, but I think Devils kind of got back to their process and got back to the recipe of what made things okay. Rick Roma says Markstrom kind of sucks, but that third goal was all on Dylan. Yes, I mentioned that before too. That was all on Dylan. That was one of the most brutal giveaways that you could see, especially in the D zone, especially right in front of Markstrom, especially on a penalty kill. So not great. Daniel Horwitz, if this third line can play like this when Jack gets back, there is reason for optimism. Yes, there is. Look, that was the recipe for their success early on in the season. That was the 8-game win streak right there. Jack was on fire. The defense was playing better. Brett Pesce was on fire. Both of those guys are out now, and the third line was great. Now, that third line hasn't been able to, kind of be in the mix of late because of all the injuries, but it was a nice, refreshing sign to see them back tonight. And they dominated. As I mentioned earlier, showed you guys the nerd numbers. It was like a 94, something like that, something ridiculous like that. Expected goals for percentage. Zach Chin, I'm 1,000% a Markstrom defender. I have no issue admitting when he needs to be better, but it really is hard to blame all three of these goals against on him when the defense has been porous at best. Yeah, we talked about this a ton tonight. I agree with you there, Zach. And I thought he had a good third period. I want to see Markstrom put it together for all 3 periods. That's what I want to see right now. I'm not yelling at you. I'm not yelling at you by any means, Zach. You gave us a super chat tonight, so we need more people to follow suit. Be like Zach. Give us a super chat. Smash the like button for Ryan. Thank you, Stanley. I appreciate that. Yes, smash that like button. Kevin Inspire says, we are live. Yes, Kevin, we have been live for quite a bit now. We love it. Nick Santola, the same way Corey Crawford is a Devil's legend. He's responding to Zach Chin's super chat here. Great comeback. I don't know if Zach Chin meant it like that. I could be wrong because I know that he's a Markstrom defender there. But yeah, could be. Zach Chin says, which team is the best goal song and chant? Oh, you stole my answer. Okay. You stole my answer because I love the way the Kraken play Nirvana. It's amazing. To go with a different answer, I'll go Chicago. I know it's a safe one, but it's awesome. It's awesome. Chelsea's Dagger, best goal song in the league. That gets you hyped, doesn't it? Zach Chin dominating the chat as always. My thought, you're like the Jack Hughes of the chat, Zach Chin. I appreciate it. My thought process, he'll be the first. Oh, okay. Look at that. His thought process is that he'll be the first goalie since Brodeur to get the Devils a cup. We'll see about that. Maybe it'll be Jake Allen leading the way in the playoffs. I don't know. If the Devils even get to the playoffs, we'll see. It's a tight metro. And look, they've been in a slump of late. Snap that tonight. Let's see if this can spark something with them. Let's see their schedule the next couple of games. I know we talked about the Canucks coming to town, obviously. The Ducks are coming to town, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So you get one tough team, or you get 2 tough teams there in the Lightning and Ducks, and then you get a team that I'm sure just wants to bury you in a crazy way right now. So we'll see if they can turn it around. Noah says, I don't get to give my 2 cents about the Fitz firing combo. Stick around 500 until Jack is back, and things will be fine. Reports say he's working hard. We must remember it takes 2 to tango. While I do agree with you, I will side somewhat with the Fitz hot seat people in saying that while, yes, it takes 2 to tango, I feel like that's also kind of been the story of Fitzgerald's career, right? He's undoubtedly gotten some big splashes. Timo Meier getting him was a big splash. Signing Dougie Hamilton was a big splash. Trying to think of other ones. Markstrom at the time seemed like a big splash. At some point, you got to get a big splash that pays off in a tremendous way. I'm not saying Timo's bad, not at all, especially right now. Like, he's not no knock on Timo, but I feel like holistically you want more out of Timo throughout his contract, right? Like, you definitely want that. So I'll say that yes, it takes 2 to tango, but I feel like Fitzgerald, he openly admits that sometimes he comes in second. He admitted, I believe, last deadline. Don't come in second this deadline. You do not want to be the one to come in second on the Quinn Hughes trade, because I think things might start getting ugly there. Easy says, love how Nemitz found open ice before the Brown passed when he scored. Yes. Excellent vision there from Nemitz. High hockey IQ there. Elite mind in the D zone. In the O zone. You love to see that from Shimon there. Is he raising his value for a trade? We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Right now, his value has got to be a little higher. Um, Steve KS, can we get the Bolts to take Palat back with them after Thursday? Yeah, put him on the bus. I imagine it would take some retention there. It would be so Devils though if the Bolts did take him back and he ended up just completely booming back there in Tampa. That would be really bad. It would be so Devils. Easy says chances Quinn switches locker room before the game Sunday. I don't know the chances because nobody wants to talk about this Quinn stuff because it's and Elliot Friedman mentioned that. Like I feel like the only person that people want to talk about this with are Elliot Friedman and like Pierre LeBrun probably. But I don't think the chances are great. And I'm just guessing. Again, this is just gut feeling. I don't feel like they would do it this early, but the one argument against that is how loud would things get? Like I feel like this is going to be a party on Sunday. Fans cheering, screaming every time he touches the puck. Fans screaming during the anthem. We want Quinn, same way they did to We Want Timo. It'll probably be even louder this time. I think things are going to get they're going to get interesting here. Zach Chin says, final point. I disagree with you, Zach. I bet you. Oh, wait. Actually, yeah, this is your final point. Wow, that's restraint there, Zach. Wow. Nemitz, Mercer, Dawes, and a second rounder for Quinn Hughes and Sherwood. I think I'm going to just say this right now, Zach. I think that Vancouver would want more. Send Dougie somewhere for picks as a salary dump. Send Casey and picks for Ryan O'Reilly. I agree with you on Casey and picks for Ryan O'Reilly. I would do that in a heartbeat. Dougie, sure. Salary dump, why not? Get that off the books. The Quinn trade, I just don't think I don't see Vancouver doing that. I think they're going to want more. I think they're going to want at least a first. I think they're going to want their ask is going to be high, and I think they actually might have more leverage than a lot of people think because at some point they're going to want to. They can take other offers too. They can field other offers too as they are right now. Excuse me. Easy says couldn't hear the laundry. That's great news because it was going off. It was the classic like Future Man. Grits needs to be moved to power play 1. It stinks right now. It sure does, and that would be a great spark plug. Don't know why he hasn't landed a role there, consistent role there at least quite yet. I would love to see that. Easy says not going to miss 2026 or 2027 first round picks. Yeah, I'll have more on that this week too. Again, in my story that I referenced a little bit earlier, the Devils should 100%. I had somebody tell me this week, somebody very, very close to Quinn Hughes, tell me this week when I asked them about like Devils and like first round picks and needed to be able to give that up. They said to me, "Oh my God, yes, give that up in a second." So yeah. Noah says Hamilton, Casey, a first, and Mercer for Quinn. I don't say that's too much. I would do that. 100%. I feel like you can find another wing because, look, this is all contingent on the fact that Fitzgerald's going to be able to find a 3C, right? You got to go get Ryan O'Reilly. Or someone of that ilk in order to make that trade because things kind of get thin there. Not that Mercer's any great at center, but like, when players are injured, and players are injured right now, one of your centers is injured right now, you got to do that. So we'll see what ends up happening, but I would do that trade in a second. Noah again says Sunday comes and Quinn is suddenly on the Devils side during warmups. Sunday's going to be is must-watch television for sure. Love that it's like love and hate that it's a noon game because I love watching NFL. I love watching my Patriots, and I would love to see them get another win, but especially against the Bills. But I'll take Quinn Hughes any day. Like I would love to watch me some Quinn Hughes. I'm going to be doing another. I'll have a bunch of Quinn Hughes stories coming out this week and next. So be sure to tune into that, guys. That'll do it. Thank you so much for tuning into us here on Speaking of the Devils. Thank you to our friends over at New Spine for sponsoring us. We will be back at it live after the Devils face the Tampa Bay Lightning on Thursday night. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.